Hello everyone. So I am blessed to be with Smita Chaturvedi ma'am. She is the current principal of the Scindia School Gwalior, and most importantly, she is an educationist par excellence. Whatever she does in life, it's an example for others to follow. In India, it is said, "Yatra naryastu pujyante, ramante tatra devta." So luckily in India, we have many such examples, epitome of women empowerment, I must say. And then seeing these wonderful people, others get their guiding light. And that's why we have invited ma'am today. And we are so happy that she has accepted our invitation to give our viewers some time. And we are discussing education for today and education for tomorrow. So welcome to the show, ma'am. And it's an honor to have you here.
Thank you, Vaibhav. Those are very big and very kind words from you. I don't know whether I will be able to live up to the expectation of the audience. Education for me, it's just something that just comes the way you live, the way you breathe, it just comes to me that way. So it's just a part of me, which I have been living all these years. Right. And that's what I will share with you.
Right. So, no, our audience is quite eager, ma'am. And that's why I'll ask the first question so that everybody comes to know who you are, how you started your journey. So please tell us something about your journey in the field of education, ma'am.
My journey in education, started in the year 1988. I was straight out of college. And, like all students at that age were a little aimlessly wandering. And, they have different dreams, which may or may not be very realistic. So likewise, I had a different dream, which didn't seem to fit in with the family expectations. And so I was told, that teaching would be the right career for me. And that is how, just on an experimental mode, I stepped into it. Right. And there was no turning back. It was such an enjoyable experience. So right from 1988, like I said, it has been a non-stop journey till today, and jumped to various organizations, worked in different roles. And I think there wouldn't be any area of school education or education per se that I wouldn't have really dealt with, Okay. When we talk about an organization, then there are so many different aspects in a school education. There would be different roles for teachers, whether it is a class teacher or activity coordinator or a sports instructor, and multiple other roles. So I can confidently say that I have done each one of them. So so it's been a long journey. Worked in many different schools, some very elite institutions of the country. And so here I am.
Right. And ma'am, with Scindia School Gwalior, how long it has been? And
it's
So it started when? So we just want to know the
so timing. With the Scindia School, it just came by in a very surprising manner, I should say. Just like when you are up against up on a road, and there's a blind turn and you don't know what is there ahead. So for me, Scindia School suddenly came by like that. And I joined here in 2017. Prior to that, I was with a Delhi public school, and I was heading the institution there, and it was a day school. And I think I can safely say I am a diehard boarding school teacher. Right. So somehow, while I did, complete my tenure there, it was a time which made me realize that, I need to go back to a boarding school.
Yes. That calling comes naturally,
Yes, yes, you can say that the calling really came naturally, because when I was going in to meet the, interviewing body, I think a day prior to that, I wasn't even sure which school this is all about, So the calling really came like that. And there I was in a jiffy, in just a few days, everything was tied up. And before it really hit me, I was at the Scindia School.
Right. So the Scindia School Gwalior is also, quite deservedly so known as one of the best schools in the world. I would like to ask you this question. What is that difference? Like how you can say that you are preparing your children for the future? How are you giving future leaders to the world? What makes it so different?
the whole experience at Scindia is completely different, you know. Like I can say that when we talk about the future world, what are the things that, one needs to inculcate, what qualities one needs to inculcate in himself in order to, be ready and prepared. You know, the key questions that are going to come to us in future are environment, sustainability, water. So when we look at these things, we are preparing the boys for that. I'll give you an I think it's a common knowledge that the Scindia School is situated within the Gwalior Fort.
Yes.
And it's, a 160-acre campus. So the whole idea is to convert the entire campus into an ecological park.
Okay.
The process began more than a couple of years ago, earlier in a planning stage, and then, so every student is involved completely and wholly, right from removing the, unwanted weeds and plants to planting the right vegetation, to identifying the birds, the flora and the fauna, which should be, in this natural habitat, which is their natural habitat. So by the time a Scindian passes out from the school, the aim is to make sure that every Scindian is a naturalist in the process. So that is one which is a very futuristic view, and I don't think anyone else would have
never heard before concept for a school, frankly.
Yes, it's a new concept for a school, but then again, for us, it's nothing new. We have been doing it for a long time. Then there are very, very concrete and serious steps being taken for water harvesting. Like any fort, there were several tals on the fort, and which were built historically. They're there. But the students made the effort, the faculty, everybody got together, and we have revived all those tals. The channels leading up to the tals are all cleaned by the students themselves. So they are so much a part of the water harvesting project in the school that not a drop of water is being allowed to go waste. Right from the, bathing water wastage to the kitchen water wastage, all that is being used for, to maintain the greenery on campus. So despite the severe temperatures, the summer temperatures of Gwalior, we have an absolutely lush green campus. So that's the ecology park we are talking about. One very important thing I would like to share with you, that I think it's lesser known. We are a zero food wastage school.
Oh, okay.
Yes, it was a drive that we took up several years ago, wherein, the food wastage of the students was calculated and announced in the assembly every day. And from the time when it was very high, we have brought it down to absolutely zero.
Wow.
Wherein the dustbins are checked, the wastage is measured every day, and every student is conscious of what he serves in his plate and manages to finish it. So these are, you can say, some of the steps we are preparing the students, this is how we are preparing the boys.
So apart from being a TEDx speaker and a TV news personality, I'm also a Hindi poet. I'll narrate some few lines that I have written, and these lines suit your school students. जो काम किसी के काम ना आ सके, क्या रखा है ऐसे काम में? They have understood this, that it is important to do something which is for everyone, because this word belongs to all of us. जो काम किसी के काम ना आ सके, क्या रखा है ऐसे काम में? जो पहचान खुद से पहचान ना बना सके, क्या रखा है ऐसी पहचान में? That's very important, that we understand our role in this beautiful world, and then we become aware citizens. I think the biggest role of a school is to make aware citizens. And I think the school is doing it.
That's a value which is being imbibed in every single student, to be conscious of his presence on the planet and his contribution to it.
Right. As they say, the purpose of life is to lead a purposeful life. So, ma'am, you being a leader who knows that it is important to produce other leaders as well, only then one can say that one has had a good and purposeful life. Who has been your role model? Like in life, who has been your role model?
When I think of a role model in the education world, I can very, my eyes and thoughts go up only to Mrs. Jamila Singh. She was the founder principal of Mayo College Girls School, Ajmer, and under whom I worked for several years there. And I found her to be such a prominent role model in my life, consciously and unconsciously both, because many a times, the actions that you take up, or the steps that you take, or the decisions that you make, they are unknowingly influenced by someone else's actions.
Yes.
So very often I find myself thinking that how would she have dealt with this situation, and what would she have done in this scenario. She was such a great leader with a combination of firmness and empathy. A fantastic administrator that I feel that nobody else could be a better role model than her for me.
Okay. So now the next question which comes to my mind is that for all educationists and teachers, what are certain qualities that they must have in this era of 2022, this time when we have faced a lot of problems in the field of education because of COVID? What are those qualities which a teacher must possess or an educationist must possess? Yeah.
In order to answer this question, I would have to refer to the current scenario. How education was imparted in a certain manner. And when COVID hit the world, everything had to undergo a sudden overnight change.
Right.
And the one quality which surfaced, which which was most needed at that time, was adaptability.
Yes, indeed.
And creative thinking. So when I think about adaptability and creative thinking, and the desire, when creative thinking leads to innovation. So I can't stop thinking about the way we formed into this journey, how we this transmission took place for us in the COVID times, because the teachers had to adapt to the new need. They had to be creative in how they had to impart the lessons. And very soon, the school was able to quickly transit into an online mode, and we were able to take the best classes. Why I say best classes, best online classes, because we have been, we have been certified, you can say, or, publicly acknowledged as for excellence in academics.
Right.
Not once, but year after year. So this has come by only because of the creative thinking and adaptability of the teachers. So I feel that those are qualities which are very necessary for any teacher to be able to survive and excel in the changing world.
So we hope that through TwinWin and through us also, this message of yours reaches at least 10-15,000 teachers, that creative thinking is a very essential skill, and adaptability, as we all of us have seen that during the COVID times, that every day was a new day. And people keep saying that one must learn, one must know how to grow. But then people at times take these sentences very lightly. But when the real word hits you, you really understand that, learning is an age-long thing and it should never stop, because you can be given a life test anytime. You can have a test in life anytime, and then you will have to prove your worth. So the next question, ma'am, which comes in this discussion is, what skills do you think school students must possess so that, they build a better future, not only for themselves, but also for the country? What skills are needed in school students?
In order to excel, I think the desire to strive, to set a goal for themselves. It's very important that students set a goal for themselves and then work towards achieving those goals through hard work, through resilience, through patience, and definitely through compassion and empathy towards fellow beings. And that is not possible if there is no team building.
Absolutely.
Right. So when we talk about, goal setting, you can blame me for coming back to my school all the time. But then if I do not talk about it, it's difficult for people.
Without examples, it would be difficult.
Yes. So when I talk about goal setting, I want to give you a small example of how we push our students and why we have been considered, and a school of academic excellence. Every individual student sets a goal for himself at the beginning of the year. For example, for myself, I would say that at the end of 6 months, I would be able to score an 85% in English, or a 73% in maths, or an 82% in science, whatever be the goal. Similar goal for that particular child is also set by the teacher. Now, you may have a different role, but the teacher may have a different goal for you. Right? So, I mean, you may rate yourself higher, but the teacher thinks that no, his capacity or his potential is not that much. And then the steps that the teacher would help the child to take to reach there, or the student will take himself to reach to that point. At the end of those 6 months, there is an assessment on, ensuring that whether the child has reached the goal, the teacher has achieved the target. If not, then you tweak the targets, you replan everything, and then by the end of the year, whether you have reached the goal that you had set for yourself or no.
So it works as a joint project, I must say, with the teacher and the student doing it together.
Again, collaboration. So collaboration is important. So in a way, we are teaching the students collaboration, team building, goal setting, everything through one exercise. So the whole experience is such that it's a continuous journey of self-discovery. Because at the beginning of the year, the child will not know what my actual potential is. But somewhere down the line through the year, he has achieved that. So it's a journey of self-discovery.
And it is said a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. And for a child, if that single step is taken at the right age at a school, that's where that change starts. And then you make a responsible citizen for the world. So ma'am, the experience has been good, it appears. Any message for parents? Like at times it becomes difficult to handle teenagers.
Yes, very important for parents to understand that, be it at at an age, at an early age, or at a teenage, when your son or daughter is a teenager, the communication channel has to always remain open. Because very often the problems that teenagers face, or the relationship issues between the parent and the child, all begin because of lack of communication or gap in communication. So if the child is confident that I can share my problem with my parent and there will not be a drastic reaction, they will help me to find the right way, and they will stand by me in my right or my wrong, both.
Absolutely.
Then I think the problems would reduce. Also, I think today's children lack patience, which is because, very, very weak point, and which is because of lack of mental discipline. So it is very important to teach the child to discipline himself mentally. And that is possible only through introspection and improvement thereof. Then again, I wish to share a very unique practice that we have in school, which is called Astachal. Yes. So Astachal is such a beautiful, practice. We call it the spiritual center of the school. It's like an amphitheater which faces the setting sun. And every evening, every single student of the school assembles there at the time of sunset. And they sit there, they reflect upon some good literature piece. And then it is the time for introspection in silence. It's an everyday practice for every Scindian. And a lot of our issues of anger or frustration or depression get resolved there and there itself without any effort. So that is something which the children imbibe in themselves as a habit. Even later in life, when they are busy in their own professional lives, they have often come back and said shared the importance of Astachal in their lives. Because even later they have been practicing it. So it teaches you mental discipline. Yeah, so that's something that I want.
Unique practice. This is a very unique practice. I have never heard of something like this happening in a school, because it gives you that mental discipline that you have to actually recalibrate yourself at times. and then you have to face the world with a smile once again. I think this teaches that.
And at the end of Astachal, it's a new opportunity for everyone to how to make your next day better.
Right.
So everyone returns from Astachal with a very positive frame of mind.
Right.
So the day's negativity is left there. So that is something that you unknowingly teach the child.
And that's the best teaching, because it makes the way directly to the heart, and nobody is giving a lecture regarding that. So that really makes a huge difference. Shakespeare.
And it's not something we are doing now.
Okay.
It's a practice for over 50 years in the school, much more than that.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's ingrained in the systems of the school.
Right. So Shakespeare once said that the whole world is a stage and we are merely players. But after listening to ma'am's words, it appears that the school is following the principle that we are not merely players, we are directors of our own destiny. Probably we can make our destiny ourselves, and that's how youngsters should be. They should be confident.
Yes. And that is the sign of a future leader.
True. That's how you teach leadership to kids. Ma'am, one last question before we value your time as well. So we had taken a time slot. So the question is that pre-COVID times and post-COVID times, what's the biggest difference? I understand teachers are more adaptable now. They have learned few things. What's the biggest challenge, or what's the biggest thing which has come out of this COVID times for the field of education?
Earlier, the school was education to a student per se from the school side was limited to the environment and the campus of the school.
Right.
That no longer exists. The whole world has become available on your screen. Right. Because that is the biggest advantage that COVID times have given us. Right. And this, the ease with which a person adapted to that has been, the change maker for that person.
Yes.
Right. So, everything, if you look at, our own country, there have been things that have changed gradually over years. It's an evolution.
Yes.
Likewise, for schools also, it's an evolution. There were some schools who haven't really moved up the ladder from the time that they were established. But when I look at my school, we started way back in 1897 as a Sardar school. I don't know if you are aware of that. I would like to share that. It was started as the Sardar school, which was only for the elite and the royal people. Yes. And then gradually, it is much later that the school opened its doors, realizing, the need of education, the importance of education. Maharaj Jivaji Rao Scindia, one. He opened the doors of, the school to the common man. And that is when it, started imparting education to all others. And again, the biggest change for us from pre-COVID to post-COVID times, if I were to compare, we were one of the first, schools to be declared the Microsoft school way back in the 1980s. And schools, brought in digital education now. So for us, the transition has been smooth, gradual over the years. But when we look at today's demands in education, the whole world is available on the screen. So if you look at the Oxford Library or the Cambridge Library, it is just a click away, which was not possible. So I think that is the greatest gift that, this changed world could have given to the students of today.
So I always say this to the students, like I ask them, what's the biggest gift that this generation has? And they say technology. I always tell them it's opportunity. These kind of opportunities were never there. 10 years ago, even if I talk about 2010, 2011, such opportunities were not there. Today, they really have the whole world to themselves. So they can be, made in India and then made for the world. That's the kind of chance
absolutely.
They have.
India for world.
Yes, India for world. I would like to say something for the lovely students of Scindia School, Gwalia. This is a line that I wrote, and I thought that when I'm meeting Principal Ma'am today, I must narrate it in front of her. विश्व पटल पर करने नए कारनामे हैं, विश्व पटल पर करने नए कारनामे हैं, हमने अब ठान लिया है सोने की चिड़िया के पंख लौटाने. If with this thought and belief, if we move ahead, and if we have with us such educationists like Smita ma'am, I think the dream of making India the golden bird again will materialize soon. And thank you so much, ma'am, for giving this time, because this message will reach many students across states of the country, and they would be amazed to listen to the kind of things that you people are doing at this Scindia School Gwalior. And I hope that many schools will start implementing such practices. That's
Thank
what
you.
education is all about.
Yes, thank you, Vaibhav. Thank you so much. It's always such a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you.
I didn't even realize how the time passed.
Same here. Same here.